Thank you, Kate, and the board. MHA, Sheboygan, fantastic. What a beautiful sight to see all of you today on this gorgeous day. And it is good to be among you and with you. Let's be honest though, I wish I had no reason to be here. I wish that I was unfamiliar. I wish I was ignorant. I wish I could go back to a place where I had no idea how often suicide happened in our country. I wish I could go back to a place where I didn't know the perils of untreated, undiagnosed depression. I wish I could go back to a place where I wasn't walking a double road of grief, a very complicated road of grief that comes from suicide. I wish I could, but I can't. I am here. You are here. We're in this together. And that is the blessing in this chaos. That is the goodness. If I can glean any one piece of goodness, it's to look around at these faces and these loved ones and know what I have gained from what I have lost. I wish to address all of you today by putting it into 4 different categories. I don't really like to classify, that's not my thing, but I'm going to assume that all of you today fall under probably 4 different categories or reasons for coming today. So I want to address each of you with some words and hopefully follow up with the hope that we're hearing in the messages earlier. First of all, to address the attempt survivors in the crowd today. Suicide attempt survivors, to me, if you are here, whether or not you have disclosed that to anyone, I am amazed that you have the courage to be here. The fact that suicide attempt survivors deal with such stigma, there's so much misinformation, there's so much misnomer surrounding that. And we are out here in the prevention field trying to figure out how not to have this happen. The fact that they know and are silenced by people's reaction to them is tragic. It's tragic. They have information we need, and our society has a tendency to shut them down, and they feel suppressed. So if you are one in this category, I commend you. I hope that today brings you some courage. I hope you find some resources, some ways that you can constructively put your story together so that it has a message useful to those of us in the research field, so that it is a comfort level for you. I hope you find those resources to do that, because you have the message, you have the link for this job to get done. No matter how dim your light is, no matter how dim it may be in the future, don't snuff it out. Don't, please, give us a chance. Give yourself a chance to let that light flourish and grow and be bright again and purposeful. So I pray that you have some resources and support today to get your story out and shared. Secondly, I want to address those who are here who are survivors of suicide loss, who walk with such a heavy heart. Such a heavy heart. Grief complicates decision making, grief complicates your will, your desire, and so to be here is a tough decision. And I have been there, not knowing whether you want to go or not. But I'm so grateful you're here. For you also, I hope you find companionship. And actually what I'd like you to do right now is, a lot of you are looking at me, and some of you are out there can't see me at all, but you know what I want you to do? You've been looking ahead at the back of people's heads. I want you to turn around Okay, everybody turn around. Look at all those people. Look. See everybody? Okay. Now back, front. Now look left. Look to your left. Look to your right. You see all these people? Okay, you getting it? You envision it? Okay, and those of us who lost, you look up. Do you feel them? They're with us. What I want you to do is I want you to hang on to this picture like a little snapshot in your brain and store it away with the pictures of your loved ones that you flip through, that your brain goes through. And that brings you down some days because you miss them and you want them present. Put this picture in with that. You're not alone. In fact, this journey that we walk as survivors of suicide loss, there are tons of people ahead of you who are lighting the way for you. There are people on your left and right that are going to catch you when you trip. And you have a responsibility to light the way for the ones that come behind you. Because we know once every 11 minutes someone in our country dies by suicide. And we need to be ahead of them for support. Together we send a message that suicide happens, not just to this person or these people, it happens. And we are the ones that can say, who cares about the data? One is too many. That one that has our name is too many. Thirdly, I'd like to speak to those, as was mentioned earlier, who support and love someone who died by suicide or who is working their way through a mental illness. Those who support. What would we do without you? You grab the tissues, you hug a hot mess, you do the dishes, you walk the dog, you put our shoes on. You do a job that nobody else wants to do. It's lonely, it's underappreciated. You get beat up sometimes and you get right back up because you know it's the right thing to do. What would we do without you? I want you to know that you're appreciated. And when we can't find the words to tell you that, just know, please, you are. We can't find the words, or we don't have the ability to communicate it, but you are so greatly appreciated for all you do, and please take care of yourself. It's a tough, lonely job to support someone who's struggling with mental illness, who lost someone to suicide. And lastly, if you have no connection to those other groups and you're just here because this is a great cause, good on you. I'd like to shake every one of your hands and thank you. There's a lot of good causes in this country, in the world. They're all clamoring at me. They all want my attention. But a lot of people won't hang out with this group. We get stigma attached, like, oh, you know how that is. People, you mention it, just shuts down. I could talk, mention my brother's name, oh, how did he die? I tell him, and it's like, oh, how about them Packers? Nobody wants to talk about it. So if you have no connection in the heart, and you're just here because you know it's the right thing, thank you. Do us a favor. You are the connection between the whispering kind of about suicide, the no talk about it, to the noise that must be made. You are the connection. Take back what you learned today to your workplaces, your houses of worship. Take them to places that people need to know how often this happens. People need to see the faces assigned to that data. People need to know the real impact. And you can do it because they're afraid to talk to us. Thank you for those that did that. I really don't care how or why you came here today, whether you fell in one of those groups or not. I don't care how or why you came here today. I care about what you leave this place with. What it is you're taking with you today. And I want to close with this message that every one of you needs to hear. We all need to hear. Self-care is not selfish. Self-care is not selfish. As they say in the airline industry, put your own mask before assisting others. What good are you if you can't take care of yourself? What good are you to the people who need you? Therefore, I'm going to charge all of you today to think about what you can do to build up your protective factors, to build up your resiliency, because if you feel you're not at risk for suicide, I get that. But be careful. Suicide and mental health are equal opportunity forms of death and health. Therefore, we have to stay resilient. Meditate. Be in touch with a higher power, a higher purpose in life. Be mindful. Mindful. Be where your feet are. Isn't it amazing? I'm 5'9", and sometimes there's 1,000 miles between my feet and my head. What? Be where your feet are. Be mindful today. That's part of building your resiliency. Breathe, meditate, go to yoga. You don't have to wear those fancy pants. I know. I also want you to think sincerely, and I have a challenge for you when you walk. I want you to think sincerely about how we have lost our ability to listen and learn from each other. We've become so involved in mental minutia, just sticking around the stuff we believe to be true because it takes too much energy to believe other things and to hear other people. It takes mental energy. And unfortunately, that's causing our brain to atrophy, and we're not learning from each other. And that's not a good thing when it comes to suicide prevention. We need to be able to hear each other when people are telling you, you're not yourself. We need to be able to accept that and listen and learn. That's part of resiliency, is getting rid of that mental minutia and listen to each other. So as you step forth today and you walk, I've got a challenge and I'm going to ask you about it afterwards. I want you to walk with someone you don't know. I want you to extend a hand. Listen, learn. What's their story? Share your story. Simple things. Why did you come today? Because then we can learn from each other. We can learn to listen and understand the multiple reasons we're here today, and we can share multiple ways to continue this. It's a challenge, but I'm going to encourage you and ask how that went. Who'd you meet? Who'd you walk with? What did you learn? Because together, we can assure each other that all will be well, one step at a time. All will be well.